morning, good afternoon, and welcome to Dermot and Philip's political podcast, where me and Philip talk all things politics. Philip being the sensible one, me being the daft one, and of course, we do have our roving special guest, our roving reporter. He's now a big selling author on the big selling list, so we're probably a little small fry to what he's used to, Philip. We're probably the little people. He's now going around in big society, and we're just little plebs in the corner, Philip. Ronan will be joining us, a renowned author, best-selling author, and also a renowned journalist as well. Philip, how are you? Before we won't get into it before, but I just want to, if you can just talk for a few minutes, Philip, I'm going to try to do something here. But how are you, sir? And the world is burning.
The world
at
is
the moment.
Burning at the moment. Well, I mean, unfortunately, one man is trying to he's trying to light fires all over the place. And whether if somebody can bring him to heel, and well, here he comes.
Hi, guys.
Ronan, how are you?
Good, and yourselves?
Good. Ronan McGreevy's now joined us, and thanks for coming in, Ronan.
Thank you very much, lads.
We were just, Dermot, I think, has a bit of breaking news there from it's come through. I think it's come through on Al Jazeera in the last few minutes. You know, read it out there, Dermot. Oh, he can't hear me. Dermot. Oh, the Dermot.
Yeah, I did have to written out. It seems to be acting up as it normally is.
Yeah. No, I was just saying there, anyway, you've been in news from Al Jazeera. There.
Where we're going. Yeah. Right, we've got a bit of breaking news. Keir Starmer might have.
You're breaking up there.
StreamYard is barely playing up tonight. One of us is lagging. It's probably me. Anyway, we've got a bit of breaking news. Keir Starmer might officially lost his job. And somewhere in the background, Sky News producer is screaming at Greg's sausage roll. Ladies and gents, the resignation speech may happen sooner rather than later. It's like Tottenham trying to hold on to a 1-0 lead this season. 1 minute is running the country, the next minute is update in Wikipedia. Experienced public speaker, skilled in apologising, open to new opportunities. Even the Downing Street cat looked embarrassed walking past the cameras. and you just know Boris Johnson is somewhere sitting on a zip line shouting, "I told you politics was easy." Meanwhile, the bookies have changed odds so fast. The next Prime Minister could genuinely be a lad from Witherspoon's yelling question times. Tonight on the podcast, we break down the chaos, the panic, the drama, and why British politics now feels like the final season of a reality TV show nobody can't stop watching. Yes, and we do have a bit of breaking news. It's from Philip's favourite person that there's going to be no bombing in Iran while the Gulf countries go and talk to Iran about a new peace treaty. I mean, Ronan, I'll start with you. Look, we've got Donald Trump saying that. We've got all the chaos in Britain with the Prime Minister. Is he staying? Is he going?
Yeah.
Can I just say, I think Ireland has to be the most stabilised, sensible, reliable country in the whole of the EU.
Yeah.
Can we just sit back and laugh at the rest of the world at this time? Just think back, look at us, lads. We're sensible here. We're the big lads.
Well, in 2016, I remember people saying the what's that song? Clowns to the left of me, jokers to the right.
Right, yeah. Stuck in the middle with you, huh?
Yeah. So look, we're we have our faults as a country, but when you look elsewhere, our problems are not in the same league as our neighbours at all, and we take things for granted here in this country far too much,
Yeah, I think we might have problems, but I think we've nothing like the problem. Like the UK, really, I don't think I've ever seen the UK in such chaos as it is at the moment. Their infrastructure, their politics, the fact that the most popular politician in the UK is Donald Trump light and Nigel Farage.
Yeah,
I can't get over that. How can they not see what's happening in America? Then they've gone and done it again over in the UK. It's just,
Philip, you love Farage. You tell me in the background you're a massive fan of his.
Farage? I dislike him nearly as much as Donald Trump, and that's something.
Yeah, I mean, you would think, would you not, that but look, I mean, it's a local election. I wouldn't get too much ahead of ourselves.
No.
You know, it's just it's a way for the British electorate to let off some steam. I'd be hoping that's the case. I mean, Starmer's got it, or Farage has got a very serious issue to deal with coming down the tracks, which is £5 million that he got from a crypto dealer who's based in Thailand. I mean, how he's getting away with this is absolutely beyond me. I mean, he says it's for his security. This is absolute nonsense. And he also says that he got it before he got into Parliament. But I'm sure this guy didn't give him £5 million because he was concerned about his safety. He obviously wants something in return. I mean, there was an article in the Sunday Times yesterday by Leah Varadkar, and it was well worth reading. The fact that, you know, we keep money out of politics. You're not allowed to give more than €650 from a businessman to a political party. And you only have to look at Britain and America to see how money has simply poisoned politics in that country, in those two countries. And, you know, like, I just don't know. I mean, I don't see how Farage is going to be able to survive this. He'll bluff his way out of it, certainly, and I know it happened before he became an MP, but it's just absolutely incomprehensible, you know?
I think the way I look at this, he seems to be following on from what Donald Trump's been getting away with in America. He thinks he's got away with it over there, so he's trying to brazen it out here. Because I think what Trump is doing, I mean, he's corruption in plain sight now. He's not even trying to hide it.
No,
he's just
not,
openly there. If you want a pardon, that'll be a couple of $1 million. Thanks very much. You know, to the Donald Trump secret bank account in the Cayman Islands or something like that. You know, it's ridiculous, and no one's standing up to him. He's letting them get on with it.
Yeah. I mean, it's become such a debased currency in the United States. It's just hard to see anybody having any respect for that country going forward. You know, the way it's going at the moment.
China certainly didn't.
No, and you know, I mean, there was a report there last week, I think it was done by The Economist, where it said that the purchasing power parity, as they call it, that's the amount of goods that people could buy internally in China now makes China a bigger economy than the United States. You know, now obviously it's not as wealthy a country but it's now a bigger economy in terms of what its own people could purchase. That's how they do it. Like it is a measure. But it's interesting that you know, the Chinese are playing a very, very long game here. And you know, Trump went over there. He claimed he got a deal on Boeing planes. He claimed that he got $17 billion, that the Chinese agreed to buy $17 billion worth of soybeans, but the Chinese aren't saying anything about that. I mean, you wonder what exactly he got out of that that deal. I mean, when you look at Xi, who's you know, I wouldn't be a fan of his, but he's a serious individual, and they seem to be a country that has a government that, although it's totalitarian, and we wouldn't like to emulate it here, seems to want to get things done, seems to want to actually better the lives of their people, wants to spread China's influence throughout the world through its Belt and Road Initiative, while the Americans have cut off funding to countries that it used to help. So, you know, I mean, Napoleon always said, never interrupt an enemy when he's making a mistake. And that's true in terms of China and America. The Chinese are looking at what the Americans are doing now, and they're just saying, let them at it.
Yeah.
But and also, sorry for that. I didn't mean
to
interrupt.
Sorry, go on ahead. Also,
they're looking at Taiwan as well and thinking, when would that be the right time? Because Donald Trump hasn't given any indication he's going to come to Taiwan's defense by any way, shape, or form. And also, Donald Trump has also announced in the latest interview he did with Fox News that he sold so many billions barrels of oil to the Chinese as well. They're going to Florida, they're going to, I think, Texas as well with tankers. I mean, look, it could be bluffing. This could be all pie in the sky. But does that put more pressure on Iran to come to heel, to come to some sort of resolution to what's happening over there? And also, if Iran going to lose China as a customer, surely Iran would have to come to their senses and say, okay, we'll cut down on our uranium or building a nuclear weapon. Because it is the Iranian people that will suffer at the end of the day, not these
But
people.
they've been suffering for 40 years.
Yeah, I agree.
This is the problem with totalitarian regimes like Iran. They're not accountable to their people, you know. So if they feel that this is going to seriously impact the country, so be it. I mean, look at what's happening in Russia as well. I mean, any normal society, normal democracy would have thrown Putin out years ago, but he's still there. And but I do hope there's a deal reached. I mean, there was no way the United States is going back to bombing tomorrow. It just, nobody wants it. It's in nobody's interests. And it's far better to have to I suppose, from Trump's point of view, to hold the sword of Damocles over Iran rather than actually, you know, start bombing again, because, you know, the world can't take this. You know, the world cannot take the chaos that's going on at the moment. So I'm really glad that the Gulf states have stepped in here. They may have given Trump a pretext just to do it, but it doesn't matter. I mean, I think we're all feeling a little bit more just a temporary reprieve at the moment.
There was a 5-star general now. I don't know whether he resigned, he retired, or got sacked, because it's hard to know over there at the moment. But he was a day out of office when he came out with the speech that the US military is being completely ruined in the hands of a maniac. Now, he didn't say whether that was Hegseth or Trump. I suspect it was Trump.
Well, it was both of them, isn't it?
Both of them, really, you know. But the thing, just go back to the thing about China buying oil from America. I think, not China, Iran, or China, yeah. I think Iran are getting oil to China on an overland route. They're not depending on the Straits of Hormuz. They're getting it some other way. There's no way China can do without Iran's oil at the moment, and they're getting it some way or other.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. But does all of Iran's oil come through the Strait of Hormuz? I mean, it's a big country. Is there anywhere else?
No, I'd say they could go the other way. They could go land side, go east.
There's a couple of oil depots at the far end of the country, in the far north of the country, at the other end of Iran.
Yeah, that's what they're probably using. You know?
Yeah. There's most of them go through. I mean, it's not just China. It's most of the Asian countries. Japan also depend on the Strait of Hormuz as well. Australia do. New Zealand does. So there's a lot of other countries that are dependent on it. I mean, the fuel in this country is going up. I mean, a barrel of oil, I looked last night, was $110.
$111 this morning, yeah.
And then that, of course, that's going on to the forecourts over here where people can't afford to run their car. And I know the government can only do so much, but is everyone scared of Trump? Is everyone scared to say to him, look, what you're doing is ruining the world's economy? And are we heading towards a recession, either a small one or a big one? And the third part to this question, is this country capable of absorbing that? But with countries like England or some European countries or America, are their economies fragile at the moment that, if you do look at Ireland, that we might be one of the best countries to observe this?
But I think one thing about your first question there is anyone scared of Trump? I think the Republican Party just won't stand up to him. Thomas Massey is losing. He's going to lose his primary tomorrow. Some other guy lost his yesterday because he dared to stand up to Trump and he primaried them. But surely these guys are complicit. When the day of reckoning comes and Trump is out of office, I think there's going to be a field day in inquiries and into why people let Trump get away with what he's getting away with. He's ruining economies worldwide. You know, I mean, he's literally, but a narcissist and a guy like him does not care about anybody else. He only cares about one person, that's him. But how people are letting him away with it. Other governments, I say, well, they've been polite to him, are laughing up their sleeve at him. They'd be laughing more if it wasn't so serious.
Yeah, but it's no joke. I mean, as you can imagine.
I don't know if you ever remember, you guys are probably too young, but there was a TV series in the 1980s called Not the 9 O'Clock News. And I watched a sketch of it last week where some guy, it's supposed to be Ronald Reagan when he's president, right? He's making a press conference. And the guy kept coming over his shoulder, like his press secretary, and butting in for him. But there's one bit in it where the guy says, "It's amazing, isn't it?" And the president says, "It's amazing, isn't it? How a country as big as this, how a country as big as this, could elect such a cretin as a president." And I thought, that's today. That's not 1980s. That's today.
Yeah.
It was brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think America will get over these years in my lifetime. I mean, like, it's a long way back to international credibility, but it might be in the long term the best thing for Europe to realize you just can't depend on the United States anymore, you know, and we have been dependent on them far too much in the past for everything. I've said this before on this podcast, that our dependence on the United States in so many different ways is untenable anymore, you know, and the party's over. So, you know, Europe has got to stand on its own 2 feet a lot better than it has. It's got to be more entrepreneurial. It's got to produce we don't appear to produce the sort of tech giants that the United States do. We need to improve on AI. We need to improve in technology. And we need to work harder, because that's where the world's at the moment, you know. And that's what we need to do to survive as a continent.
Yeah, but like, would you say that of all the economies in Europe, Germany's economy is not doing very well? The UK's economy would probably be the one I'd say is probably at most risk at the minute with everything that's going on there.
Well, they had a very good, they had a pretty good first quarter. I think they had the fastest growth in the GDP in the G7, which was 0.7% now. Okay. So, like, actually, you know, talk about Starmer being an unlucky general. I mean, the day that West Streeting resigned was the day that the figures came through, you know.
Nobody noticed.
Well, they did kind of, but you're like, it's like everything else in the British media. It's all down to it's this sort of perma crisis of changing leaders, and people aren't looking at the bigger picture. And the bigger picture is that the British economy seems to have bottomed out and is grown a little bit at the moment, but which is really what matters in the end of the day. The things that matter in Britain is that the country needs to start growing again, so that it can, and the government can provide the tax revenue for the government to fix the huge problems that it has. And you know, that's really what matters, and it doesn't matter who takes over from Starmer. There's nobody out there. There's no savior on a white horse coming to save Britain. I mean, you know, you're not going to get the change you need just by changing leader. You know, you've got to have a long-term strategy, which is one of the reasons I think Starmer will tough this out. I mean, he's already said he will, but, you know, it is 3 years to the next British general election, and, you know, who knows where things will be then. He's not an inspiring leader. He's not terribly charismatic, but Britain's had a fill of charismatic and inspiring leaders like Boris Johnson, who, you know, turned out to be complete charlatans. And, you know, I just hope that common sense prevails in that country, you know.
Dermot, what do you reckon?
Look, for me, I lived in the UK for a long time. Seen Labour governments. My first time I voted was actually Tony Blair's Labour government back in '97. That's the first election I ever voted in. And I grew up under 18 years of Maggie Thatcher and John Major. I mean, John Major must have been the dullest prime minister that's ever existed. Even Spitting Image done him as a great person. I mean, that's how boring he was. I feel sorry for Starmer. Starmer came in under a massive majority from the English people to take over from the Tory, but it was more of an anti-Tory protest vote than it was really a Labour vote. I do feel if the Tories had a better leader and there wasn't so many scandals, I don't think Labour would have won that election. I just don't think it would have happened. I think Starmer has to go. I do feel it has, but as Ronan's rightly said, there's nobody like a Tony Blair or Gordon Brown to take over. There's nobody there that the British public will probably get behind or like. And I think this is why they're going to reform. That's my opinion. I think to see Nigel Farage, like him or loathe him, I think he's quirky. He's different. He's not like the stiff upper lips of the Conservatives and Labour leaders. He's a bit more down to the people. And I think the people are so frustrated with Labour and so frustrated with the Tories as well. They don't see the Liberal Democrats as an alternative. So they're going to go over to reform. And it's sad. So the two big parties have to really get themselves together and reorganize themselves in a way that they do become more of an attractive opposition. And that sort of brings me on to this. Now we know Burnham's going to run in a by-election to become an MP, but he is a clear favourite for Labour leader in the poll of the party members. I mean, Ronan, you've probably done a lot in your career as a journalist of Irish elections and by-elections up and down the country. What is your sort of antenna telling you about Burnham? Do you think it's the great big change Labour need, or do you think it's a recipe for disaster?
Well, the first question is, he is standing in Makersfield, which, if the local elections the local election results were repeated, he wouldn't get elected. So we might not even get to that point, right? I think the problems in Britain are, I mean, the problem for Starmer, he's been too timid in dealing with them. The first is the fact that there is widespread dismay in Britain, long-term dismay about the privatization of the railways and the water. He wants to bring those back into public ownership. He wants less of the private sector in the UK economy. He wants to bring in PR, which I think Britain is crying out for. I mean, you said that millions of people voted for Starmer. In fact, the Labour Party only got 33% of the vote. I mean, he doesn't. Starmer really doesn't have a mandate from the British people in general, and I think that's an issue that he's. It's at the root of his problems here. He wasn't a popular guy to start with. But the question is, Burnham comes in, and then what? I mean, what is he going to do that's differently? I would say one thing about Burnham, and I think this is Starmer's big problem. He's not a great communicator, Starmer. And I think if there was one reason to change the leadership, it would be for that. But if you look at for instance, the crucial issue of immigration, which seems to be driving a lot of the resentment in the UK, the Labour government have actually slashed immigration to Britain by 75% since they took office. They got rid of an awful lot of these anomalies that the Tories were allowing. The Tories were talking tough on immigration, but they were allowing every dog and devil into Britain. It's gone from nearly 950,000 to 205,000 in the first year that Labour was in charge. Now, you don't hear too much about that. If immigration is the surpassing issue of our time, then why is Labour not making a bigger deal out of this? They have a Home Secretary, Mahmood, who is, because she's of Pakistani origin, she can make decisions in relation to immigration that probably a white politician couldn't. But their immigration policies are working in the ways that the Tories weren't. But the problem is that the British public don't know about it, and I blame that on Starmer's lack of connection with the British people.
Do you not think that I was getting to Andy Burnham?
Yeah, I was going. Yeah,
they picked a constituency. The guy that resigned his seat is a constituency that's in a fairly strong reform area.
Yeah,
would they not have been better cherry picking a constituency maybe down further south, where maybe reform don't have as much of an influence? Because that could backfire them very badly in that by-election.
Very badly, yeah. I mean, that's the thing, and I mean, over 60% of that constituency voted for Brexit, and we have West Streeton creating mischief by saying, that Britain should rejoin the EU in time. That's never going to happen. Not in our lifetimes. We can just put that one out the door straight away. But the trouble for Burnham is, like, first of all, he has to find a safe seat. Secondly, he has to find an MP that's going to give up his seat for him, and that has already happened. I mean, beggars can't be choosers here. It's not like a seat's going to fall into his lap straight away. So, he has to take this. Now, this is a Labour seat, so there's a very strong possibility that Burnham may take it. Obviously, being from that area as well, it'll be a big help, and it'll be a referendum, I suppose, on Starmer's leadership, really. But there's no guarantee they're going to win it, And what happens then? What happens if he doesn't win?
Yeah, true.
So
egg on face, big time. And I see
Philip, I'm just going to ask you, Philip. You've seen a lot over your lifetime, right? Politicians come and go, both sides of the Irish Sea.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at Starmer, I mean, you've said it to me before when we had Boris Johnson or Liz Truss or even politicians over here. You've often said to me, he's a dead man walking. Is Starmer in that dead man walking mode for you? From your experience of seeing what you've seen in your lifetime, is he in that mode yet?
He's certainly in intensive care. Whether he gets out of it or not is another thing. He could be. I don't know. Did your man Streetley get the 81 votes yet to force the leadership challenge? I'm just wondering.
He hasn't triggered a leadership challenge.
Yeah, but I'm just wondering, what's the point of triggering a leadership challenge if Andy Burnham comes along in 5 weeks' time? Does that, and that sounds a bit double jobbing to me, doesn't it? That he's going to go against Starmer now, and then Burnham's going to come along on the rails in 5 weeks' time and upset the apple cart again. I just can't get over that.
But they can't go again. And if he goes once, they can't go again for another year.
Oh, is that it?
So
okay.
Yeah.
So he's trying to gazump Andy Burnham then?
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Right, okay. Interesting.
Somebody said that they had that Wes Streeting has broken the first rule of politics, which is you have to learn how to count. He didn't have the numbers to go up against Starmer. No. Just because 81 MPs want Starmer out doesn't mean that they want Streeting in.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And just one thing about England as well, just to move on slightly from it. Our president had an official visit today with King Charles, who will be paying us a visit next year. But I'm going to use that. It's also come on a day where Catherine Connolly's sister has been impounded by the Israelis, who overtook their boats in international waters. I mean, surely the impunity of doing that, that's piracy, isn't it? I mean, what right do Israel have to go in and lift people off when it's not in Israeli territorial waters?
Go on, Ron, you answer that. Go on.
I completely agree with you. They are acting with complete impunity, but they did that last week in Greece as well. And, what do you expect? Really, it's just... but I'm glad about the state visit. I think it's going to be a really good one. I think it's the first since Brexit too, which will be a good thing.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I think it's a good thing for the country. I think it's good, and it's good for her as well. It puts her in a good light. And do you know what? I think she's been a great president so far. She hasn't been too controversial. Yeah. She's kept her head down. Done her job, and I think she's done a great job. I just want to talk. This is a little bit of news that broke about an hour ago, on Sky News. Now the news going across the bottom, it's only breaking on Al Jazeera, so we don't know how true or not it is. So we thought we'd let you know, but there is a slight sigh of it is from Al Jazeera because it's not been broken on CNN. I've checked on Sky News or any other news sources that we use. Now it says here, Sky said that in the last hour, Donald Trump's come out and put on the Truth Social that the US are preparing for a large-scale assault on Iran if deal was not reached, Trump says. Now he's looking at land scale and air. Ronan, look, we can all remember the Iraq War of 2003, going in on a light. There was no weapons of mass destruction by Bush and Blair. and that turned into a living nightmare for both countries. Thousands of soldiers died. Of course, Afghanistan as well. We know Donald Trump then came out of Afghanistan and let the Taliban back in again after the Americans drove them out in 2001. There is a lot of pitfalls in this, isn't there? Iran is a larger country than Iraq. What do you think Donald Trump's end game is here, or does he have one?
Well, I think it's basically, if he can't keep up the threats against Iran, then what leverage does he have? Simple as that, really. He doesn't have any leverage. He has to. This is the rhetoric that he has to keep on. But I wouldn't take it too seriously. There's no appetite for going back to war with Iran anywhere, and I just hope that he sees sense. But this is I'm hoping that this is just rhetoric, that he's saying this because the talks are going nowhere. I think the Iranians have seen their version of taco. Trump always chickens out, and they're thinking, we just need to sit tight here, and eventually he'll get bored and he'll leave. So I would imagine that this large scale assault thing is a bluff.
Yeah. I'm being flippant here, but I reckon if Iran offered Trump a percentage of the take of the tolls for the ships going through the Gulf of Hormuz, he'd be gone in a shot.
Yeah.
Also, Philip, this broke as well today. It broke over the weekend as well that USA were drone attacked over the weekend, and one of their nuclear plants was hit. Now, thankfully, it didn't hit a part of the nuclear facility. It hit a generator on the edge of the nuclear site. Now, USA have restored energy to the nuclear power plant after drone strikes. Now, Donald Trump was coming out during the bombing that we've bombed their navy into submission. They've got no air force, they've got no navy, they've got no drones, they've got no bombs. But suddenly Iran keeps sending them. Iran keeps sending them and sending them. Now, it goes to the pair of you, but I'll start with you, Philip. Who are we to believe? Because you can't believe anything Iran says, and you can't believe anything Donald Trump says. He says one thing and he does another. Philip, how worried should we be that they're still bombing their... Hello? Where do you go? Sorry, Ronan. I was coming to you. You weren't next to believe me. But where? Oh, hello. He's back again.
I think it's.
I was coming to you, Ronan. I was coming.
It's shocking to think, that you think you're even considering and believing in Iranian government in the same breath as believing in the American president. Normally, you just dismiss the Iranian stuff out of hand as being lies. But Donald Trump is such a liar and has proven 35,000 lies in his first term. You just cannot believe anything the man says. So it's really hard to know who to believe. It's believe neither of them would probably be the best way around it. But seeing as they're both coming out with polar opposites, maybe go somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
I where are you in it, Ronnie?
I just think it's, if you're dealing with a sane, rational actor, we wouldn't be here at all talking about this, but we're not. We're dealing with Donald Trump, and I think that I think he will eventually chicken out, and some class of a deal will be made. They'll kick the can down the road about the nuclear weapons. They'll do a secret deal, and that will be the end of it for the time being. That would be my view. He went out of his way to try and get regime change. That's not happening. He's actually strengthened the Iranian leadership, and I don't know. You have two parties in this war who really don't care about the impact that this war is having on their people or on the people in the rest of the world. But it would appear to me, and it's hard to believe, but the Iranians seem to be more rational actors in all of this than the United States. So hopefully they'll be able to reach some class of a deal. I know last week that Trump dismissed the Iranian proposal as garbage, but he also lifted sanctions on some of the right? Leo, I'm on a podcast. He lifted sanctions on some. This my son has just walked into the room. He lifted some of the sanctions on Iranian assets in the United States. So I would think that that would be something that is at least a fig leaf in their direction.
Yeah, it's hard to know what way it's going to go. It's worrying.
Phillip,
It's
is it
worrying.
okay? Is it all right to read out the Truth Social comment from Donald? What he did, out the list of it, so it would give people a little bit more of an understanding than just the top headline that some news organizations have taken. And it says, this is from Donald Trump on his Truth social media. It says, I've been asked by the Emir of Qatar, Tamim bin Hamad AI Tight, the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, and Mohammed bin Salman Al Saudi, the President of the United Arab Emirates. I apologize if I butchered any of your names. Please do not arrest me. Of our planned military attack of the Islamic Republic of Iran, which was scheduled for tomorrow. In that series, talks are now taking place, and that, in their opinion, great leaders and allies, a deal will be made, which would be very acceptable to the United States of America, as well as the countries in the Middle East and beyond. This deal will include, importantly, no nuclear weapons for Iran. Based on my respect for the above-mentioned leaders, I've instructed Secretary of War Pete Hegseth and the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs, General Daniel Kane, and the United States military that they will not be doing their scheduled attack of Iran tomorrow, but have further instructed them prepared to go forward with a full, large-scale assault on Iran on a moment's notice. In the event of that acceptable deal is not reached, thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. Guys, that's the full sort of reading of it. What's your sort of take on it?
MBS.
Yeah, well, I would hope that the Gulf leaders have some leverage over Trump, and that they have tried to talk some sense into him. Sometimes he does act as a rational actor, but obviously, as long as he has a threat of resuming airstrikes and so on, he will have some leverage over the Iranians. If he says, well, it's all over, and he hasn't got a deal, he's going to come out of this humiliated. So I would say that he's playing for time here.
Yeah.
That's what he's.
Thank God for the UAE leaders that are more or less keeping them in check here. Because I think even as bad as Trump is, he realizes that the USA needs those guys on their side. And if he was to completely ignore their pleas and go and bomb Iran tomorrow, then I think the repercussions could be very serious for the US. And he's obviously listening to somebody who's got the right bit of common sense.
And the son-in-law, I think, has big contracts with the UAE, so I wouldn't rule that one out either.
Yeah, that's true. There's money in there somewhere. There always is with Trump.
Yeah,
but being cynical,
follow the money.
Being cynical as I can be, right? And I always look at these things and look at one way, and then I listen to people, but I always try to be a little bit more probably flippant and have to look at the other side of it. Could this be a sort of ruse by Trump to give him this time? Because he's done this before, hasn't he? He has said one thing, and then we woke up the next morning to large bombings and whatever. Could this be a ruse by Donald Trump?
I don't think so. I think if the UAE and Dubai and Jordan and all these guys are involved, I don't think so. I don't think he would even risk telling them one thing and doing another. I mean, he does it all the time at home, and he's flip-flopping and tacoing every day of the week. But no, I can't see him telling Mohammed bin, the Saudi Arabian guy, the butcher, that he'll not touch Iran and go and touch them, because Donald could be on the hit list next if that happens, you know?
Yeah. I agree with you. I agree. Yeah, well, look, we'll have to just see how it goes. I mean, I'm just delighted that we're not staring down the barrel of another couple of weeks of this crazy nonsense that's going on in Iran, you know? So
yeah.
I think we call it.
Anything else, lads, you want to talk about before we end up? Any other pressing news in Ireland that you want to talk about? Not about Westmeath beating Dublin or.
Oh, well, that
was great.
That was great.
Isn't it interesting? Aren't we a lucky country that we can't think of one really pressing issue in Ireland that we should be talking about on this podcast at the moment? That doesn't mean that there isn't a lot of bad things happening, but there's nothing pressing. As you said, as we said at the start of the broadcast, bad and all as we are, we seem to be in ocean of sanity at the moment. So,
but do you know one thing I've noticed? Though, one thing I've just noticed, and you were talking about prices going up and stuff. I've been checking a certain flight and I want to book, and I've been watching the price of it, and I priced it just before this all started, and I priced it again last night, and it's gone up €100. Now I know that can happen, but it seems to me that airlines are already factoring in the fuel costs into they're not passing it off as a fuel surcharge. They're just adding it onto the price.
Yeah.
So I think that's travel is going to get very expensive here over the next few years.
I know. Yeah. It already is.
I mean, we're going to the UK in June to see Dermott's family, and we're going by boat. We're railing and sailing it.
That's not cheap either. That's very expensive.
Do you know what, Philip? From here in River Chapel, driving up to getting the bus up to Dublin Port, getting from Dublin to Holyhead, and getting the train to Sheffield, it's €105.
Well, that's not bad.
No,
that's not bad.
That's for both of us. That's €105.
That's brilliant, because if you bring a car over on the ferry, it's about €180 each way.
Is it? It's far more than that. It's €600 return. I looked at it. It's crazy. Man. The price of taking your car to England now. We used to do it all the time when it was €300. It's now 600.
Yeah,
to hell with that.
No, that's true. That's true.
Look, I'm no big fan of Micheál Martin and Simon Harris at the moment, but I must admit they're keeping their head down. So lads, keep it down. Just keep your head down.
Keep it down.
Keep it down. Right. Anything happening in politics in the Doyle? You can light the break with us. Give us any breaking news or anything that might be rumbling.
We're just the by-elections that are coming up. I don't think there's going to be too many surprises there.
The Hutch get in
between Janice Boylan and the only thing is to see how Sean Kind is. He's in the mix for that seat in Galway West for Fine Gael. And then there's Noel Thomas, obviously the ex-Fianna Fáiler, who was kicked out of the party for his comments about immigration. So that'll be a real test in rural Ireland as to whether or not, all that fuel crisis, all that protest stuff still resonates with voters. So that's the one I'd be watching for. But I would say, I'd say it's the Dublin Central is between Janice Boylan and Daniel Ennis.
Well,
just very quickly on Hutch and him going in, and I know we've got to be very careful what we say about the gentleman. He's got a bit of a funny past. That's all I'm going to say. In case he's watching. Hello, Mr. Hutch, if you're watching. I've got enough horse's head. Thank you very much. Philip sends me a load. I don't want any more. Isn't it amazing that a country and a state like ours, that is a young state, it's a young country, that we sort of allow, you can have as dodgy as the party as you can, but you can still run to be a TD. Do the laws need to change? Do the rules have to be changed that if you do have a criminal record or you do go to prison, that you cannot run for the Doyle or you cannot become a senator?
No, I think you do the time. If you do the time, you've done the crime. And
I don't mean everyone, Ronan. I mean for people like the Hutch and people that we know that are still involved somewhere, shape or form. There's no evidence he is, but should there be any safeguards put in? If he did get into the Doyle, it would be kind of shocking in a way that he would get. I know he probably won't, but would it be really shocking if he get in, or would it be?
No, I don't think he
will.
No,
I don't think he will. But if he did, would it send shockwaves through Irish politics?
Oh yeah,
if he did,
and it would get a lot of international attention as well. Very unwanted international attention. But I just don't see it happening. I don't see it happening. I mean, he's third in the first preferences, but he's not going to get the transfers. Simple as that. There'll be people. some kind of a folk hero, but it's not. They're not going to transfer to him. That's why, even though he did very well in the last constituency, he never got the transfers to be elected. So I think that's going to happen again.
I think the Americans would wish they were changing the rules to see who be elected their president.
Yeah.
Anyway, but on that point.
Anyway, at that point, I'm moving slightly away from what we were talking about. So, hello, Mr. Hutch, if you're watching. Yeah, you're a great man. Big up to you. I think I've covered my tail there nicely. Philip, anything else you want to say, bud?
No. I think that's it for now.
No.
So,
look, I've enjoyed these podcasts. I really do. And Ryan, you've been an absolute massive. You've brought this podcast to another level coming on, but I can't let you go without saying congratulations on your book.
Thank you.
Becoming what did he get voted for, Philip? You told me the other day. I'm sorry, my memory.
It's in the bestsellers. Yeah.
I saw your book in Gory. I saw your book and I sent a picture to Philip. I was walking down the mat and I saw it there, and I thought, I've got to send Philip a picture. I did buy it, and I've read it, and I've loved it. And I don't like reading.
I'm listening
Is there
to
an audio book of it coming out? Are you doing an audio book?
Unfortunately, there's not. The tape recordings themselves aren't of sufficient quality to do that.
Right.
We looked into that, but no, sorry.
Yeah. It was a fantastic book. I have to say, well worth the read, well worth buying. And I think if there's any award that you should be nominated, because it is a fantastic book, it really is.
If I can just add, I'm actually listening to your other book, the General Wilson, the assassination of.
I would recommend to your listeners.
That's a brilliant book. It's brilliant.
That my book on the assassination of Field Marshal Sir Henry Wilson is free to all Spotify premium subscribers, which I think is most people at this stage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
I listened to that tonight now.
It's very good. It's really good.
By Aidan Kelly, the actor, and he'd make the old phone book sound like poetry. So I like it with that.
Yeah, good.
That's one. But yeah, congratulations, and we're really pleased for you. I'm over the moon that you've got so much success with the book. It is a fantastic book.
Thank you, guys.
Philip, do you want to say anything else? And you, Ronan, anything you want to plug?
No. I'm plugged away now. Yeah.
So
I think... Do you want to leave us on a bit of a cliffhanger, Westmeath, or
delighted for Westmeath. I mean, I didn't get to Newry on Saturday to see Leitrim playing, but my wife did now, and she wasn't too impressed. That's all I can say. But
normal service has been resumed after the heroics against Galway.
They left on purpose because I know they're going to play in Carlow in the next round. So I think that's
I've been so invested in Tottenham. I haven't checked the Wexford yet, so I don't know how well we're doing or not, because I've just been focused on Tottenham.
And
just a bit
this time tomorrow night we are going to be celebrating. I hope.
Please. I did it. I tell a funny story. I was doing the Brighton watch along on my football channel, and I swear to God, I thought I was having a live heart attack live on air. At one point, I just felt. I know he's got. Yeah. Pep's left. Just very quickly. Pep's left. Man City.
Yeah.
Do you think the 60 points or whatever's coming down the line?
I don't know.
Do you think that?
I don't know.
Do you think that's why he's left?
It's been delayed. That maybe he's going to whisper. Maybe, I don't know. We'll soon find out. But
I do want to look. There is a political side to that, Philip, and I do want to talk about it on our next podcast, because I do feel that there is a political slight to that Man City thing.
So Pep Guardiola's leaving at the weekend.
Yeah.
So I want to score prediction for the Perrier for tomorrow night, because we're all Tottenham fans as well on here.
8-0 to Spurs.
Philip is delusional as me. I'm going for 10-0. Any takers any higher than 10 tomorrow night?
I'll take a 0-0 draw.
Yeah.
I'll take anything.
Providing
Chelsea don't score more than us.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's worrying. Although fair dues to Newcastle for doing the job yesterday. I thought they mightn't be as efficient as they were. But anyway.
If we don't win tomorrow night, do you have faith we'll get the job done Sunday?
Lovely
considering our home form this season.
If we're playing away, I might have. Oh dear. Ah, no, listen, we're unbeaten in 4 matches. which is for us is a record-breaking thing this season. So no, I really think it's a good time to play Chelsea. I know they've got a new manager coming in, whatever, but they will be tired and despondent after the cup final, and we've got a week to prepare. So hopefully they can do enough. I want those players to die on the pitch tomorrow night for Spurs.
Yeah.
They really have to, But anyway, let's hope.
Score prediction, Ronan? What are you going with?
I think 2-0 to Spurs. I know I'm being delusional, but for the same reason that I think Philip was, I just think we're catching Chelsea at a very good time. And
I think so.
So we'll see how it goes.
They're not playing well. So
no.
I will, Philip, you can keep rounding up with all the information I get. I have a source that gives me information. So I get Philip send you all the transfers that are happening.
We get a few things ahead of the posse here. It's quite good.
Good man.
Yeah, Philip knows him as well. I had to rename him the Football Insider now. That's his nickname. But anyway, on that bombshell.
Listen, good night, lads.
Right, guys, I'm going to head off, okay?
See you soon. Oliver, see you, Roland. See you soon.
Ronan, see you next week. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
And we will do more of these podcasts more regularly as we go on. And of course, it'd be me and Philip, or Philip or Ronan, or whoever, but we are going to be more regular. Ronan, thank you once again for doing it. It's been absolutely fantastic having you on. Philip, absolute pleasure as always, bud. And I will see you soon. And
see you soon.
Let's go.
Right.